He said, you can change. And if you were here, you know that he told you at the end, this week was gonna be all about the how. It's great that I can, but it doesn't help me a lot unless I know how. That's what we're gonna talk about today. How do we discover and walk in God's life-changing plans for our lives? And I wonder if sometimes we miss out on, God, what are your plans for my life? Because we stop at the promise. We love to hold on to the promise. I can't tell you how many times I've preached about or heard somebody talk about or preach about the promise. God has a plan for your life. It's gonna prosper you, not to harm you, give you a hope and a future. Amen, tattoo it, let's go. Like, we love the promise. The problem is, and I'm at fault here too, so my bad, we need to spend a real good amount of time looking at what he says in the next 3 verses, because the next 3 verses tells us how to get the promise. But we stop at the promise. We're gonna read all 4 verses. We're gonna get crazy. We're gonna read all 4 verses together. Jeremiah 29, 11 through 14. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. That's such a good promise. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. He says, I got you. God, how do we find out what that promise is? He said, I'm so glad you asked. When you call on me, when you come and pray to me, I'll listen. When you come looking for me, you'll find me. Yeah, when you get serious about finding me and you want it more than anything else, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed. God's decree, here it is, I'll turn things around for you. I'll change your life. I got a plan, it'll change your life if you come find me. If you get serious about the calling and the looking. Go ahead and put that graphic up. This is what it says. It says, I'll change your life. That's the promise. I got a plan. But don't stop at just knowing the promise. Don't stop at understanding there's a plan. Go find out what it is. He says, call on me. Look for me. Get serious about me. I'm not playing games. I'm not playing hide and seek. I want you to know what it is. And I used to ask God all the time. He never answered me, but I felt like maybe he did recently or something occurred to me, but I was like, why? Just tell me the whole thing. Like, why do I gotta keep coming back? And what I realized is, if he'd have told me the whole plan, I'd have never started most things that I do right now. I'm not necessarily where I wanna be, but I'm nowhere close to where I used to be. Some of you need to remind yourself that. We're told to walk by faith, not by sight. You can't walk anywhere unless when you fall, you get up and keep going. Somebody in here, you need to hear, you're forgiven. Get back up, let's go. You're forgiven. It's a new year, it's a new start. He's a God of new mornings, new mercies, new starts. It happened, let's go. You're forgiven, let's get back up. Took a step back, something hard happened, that's okay, get back up, let's go. We're gonna walk by faith. We're gonna go do what he's calling us to do. I dare you to get in a group. Do like what I just did and grab some friends and go, hey man, would you help me pursue God on a higher level? Some of you, it's time to start a group. We're starting some new groups next month. Get on the app, get on the website. We'll train you and you'll be ready to start a group next month. We gotta start doing this thing together. If we wanna actually walk in the plans he has for us, it's not a solo mission. Are you willing to seek him for it? He's got a plan. You willing to hunker in? You willing to do some looking and some searching and some seeking and get serious about it? And then once he starts to speak, what are you gonna do about it? When are you gonna start? And who are you gonna get to help you? God says, I'm not playing games. I want you to experience life change. The story you'll tell, he says, I want you to hit January of 2025 and look back on this year and go, you're not gonna believe what happened. I actually took God serious this year. I actually started to seek him. He did some things. I experienced his plan. I walked in his plan. My life is different. Look what God did. That's the story he wants us to tell. We've got to decide if we're gonna get serious about starting the process. And I wanna end with this. I wanna end by going back to the very last thing Doug said last week. He just kept reiterating, you can change. You can do this.